Well, good morning, everybody. How are you all? Good. 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 It's almost full today here. That's good. And we've got a good crowd on Zoom as well. So, yeah. So here we are. This is our first class in February together. I don't know about you guys, but I feel hopeful that the winter is going to go by quickly. Yes. Okay. I'm keeping that thought so that we can get back outside again and, enjoy maybe. I don't know. Does anybody know what the groundhog said? 6 more weeks. Okay. He always says that. Actually, I was surprised he came out. I figured he'd say, I'm not coming out without my vaccine. You don't like to wear masks. No. I just want to check in. Have any of you or many of you gotten an opportunity to schedule your vaccine yet? Yeah? Oh, good, good, good. Okay. That's great. Yeah. Group two. Okay. Because you're such a baby. So you're going to Boston? Is that what you said? Oh, Brookline. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, there's some different flights opening up now, which is good. Which is, oh, that's even better. Good. So you don't have to go anywhere. They'll come to you? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Well, there's lots of places. Marion was saying she got hers at the Big Y. And my mom got a call. Her doc had set her up for the Big Y as well, but we already had her set up for here. So um, he set up for, he's old. Old enough. Oh, okay. Okay. I love it. It's kind of nice to not be old enough to get the vaccine, right? Yeah, sort of. Yeah, you're the baby, the baby. Oh, good. Well, so in the meantime, we do what we can, right? And so I'm grateful to have the opportunity to be here with you guys in person, in our expanded space and to be with the folks at home on Zoom as well. So let's do some yoga together this morning. So come right up to the front edge of your chair and bring your feet underneath your knees. And then just notice if you're sitting a little forward in your chair, a little bit back in your chair. So I like to just explore kind of going back and forth. Think about lining up your shoulders with your hips. So for a lot of us, we sit in this position. Let's turn sideways. We sit kind of in this forward position. I notice this a lot. My husband works from home now, and I see him in his home office, and he's on his computer like this because he's in the Zoom meeting, right? He's like getting close to the screen. So whatever you can do to kind of bring yourself back a little bit is helpful. So if it's comfortable, close your eyes and just begin to notice your breathing. Just watch the way air moves in and out of your body. And see if you can breathe in and out through your nose. And notice how quickly or slowly you're breathing. Notice if the breath is shallow or deep. And notice any difference in the temperature of the air as you breathe in and breathe out. And that's a little different when we're wearing a mask. There isn't a lot of temperature difference. So for folks at home, you might notice that the air is a little cooler as you breathe in and a little warmer as you breathe out. And notice if your jaw is tense, if your teeth are kind of clamped together a little bit, see if you can create some space between your upper teeth and your lower teeth. You even let your mouth open a little bit. And then investigate where your shoulders are in space. Are they way up by your ears? Or can you relax them and let them come down away from you? And now begin to deepen your breathing. As you inhale and exhale, feel the air moving down into your belly. As you breathe out, see if you can pull your navel in toward your spine so you're engaging those abdominal muscles a little bit more. As you pull your navel in toward your spine, that'll help press out any breath that's left in the lower ribs of the lungs. And we're going to add a little count to the breathing this morning. So on your inhalation, see if you can count to 4 slowly in your head. And same thing on your exhalation. So it's a very slow count to 4 in your head as you exhale. Breathing in to a slow count of 4 and breathing out to a slow count of 4. After your next exhalation, you can release the control and the count and go back to your natural breath. And notice if there's any difference now in your normal breathing. Simply by bringing awareness to the breath and creating a depth and a visibility for it, you might notice that the breathing changes on its own. And let your eyes gently open. Right. So we'll start like we do most times we get together with some movement for the fingers. So squeezing and extending the fingers and a little bit of movement in those joints. It's weather can make the joints less stiff and achy. It might actually make some noise, some crackling or tension in there. And then let's extend the arms and press out like you're saying stop, and then bring the fingers down. Your elbow is straight if you can as you're doing this. And you might notice a little bit of noise in the wrist. Pretty normal. I have some noise there. And then we'll circle at the wrist. So we start with the smallest joints first, which are the fingers, and then we move up to the wrist and go in the opposite direction if you haven't done that already. And then let's bring the hands to the shoulders and elbows out to the sides. Now keep those upper arms lifted so that they stay parallel to the floor. So it takes a little more effort. And if you're lifting with your shoulders like this, just drop the shoulders down. So we're trying to use the muscles here in the tops of the shoulders and the tops of the arms. And we're just going to extend and bend. And what I like to do when I'm doing this is to really extend through the fingers. So get your palms as wide as they can be. Right? And out. Breathe. Couple more of these. Breathing in and breathing out, nice and slow and steady. Now, if your arms are, it's a little too much to have your arms up higher, you can have them a little bit lower. If one arm works better than the other and one needs to take a break, you can do that as well. Next time you tap your hands onto your shoulders, you're going to go up overhead instead of out to the side. So go up, and as you come down, squeeze your shoulder blades together and bring the elbows back as far as they'll go. And then go up and down. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Breathing in as you come up, breathing out as you come down, or breathing out as you go up and in as you come down. So it doesn't matter as long as you're doing both. So really squeeze those shoulder blades together. We're going to hold here the next time we come down. So squeezing the shoulder blades together, lift the elbows higher, and then we're going to extend and bend the arms. So keep the elbows lifted. It's just the lower part of the arm, the forearm, that's moving. Right? So your upper arm stays stationary. Couple more. Beautiful. Last one. And then relax the arms all the way down. Take a breath in, let it out with a sigh. And let's rotate the right shoulder up and around and down. And then let's get the elbow in there. So get the elbow lifted and circle that arm. And again, you might notice some noise in here. Shoulders can be kind of noisy. And then the whole arm, up and around and down. And we'll twist the whole body. So as you come forward, twist to the left. And as you come backward, twist to the right. And keep breathing. Now, don't let your sitting bones slide on the chair. So the movement is happening from the waist up, right? So you know that movement. And then at some point, when your arm is down toward the floor, you're going to switch direction. Not when the arm is up overhead, though. That's a little bit tricky position for the shoulder to be in, to switch direction. So it's a lot safer to do it when the arm is down. Now, the next time that your arm comes kind of straight out in front, we're going to hold here and turn the palm up, and then we're going to bring the arm all the way back and around and twist, twist, twist as far as you can, and then turn the palm down, and let's go all the way over to the left. So let's breathe in as we come all the way up, and breathe out as we go all the way to the left. So it's easier on your shoulder if when you turn to the right and bring the arm behind you, that the palm is facing up. And when you turn to the left, if the palm is facing down. It just has to do with the orientation of your arm bone in that shoulder socket so that you don't like just jeopardize those little tendons and ligaments in there. Next time your arm comes back around to the front, we're going to hold it here and then go straight up overhead. Reach, lift, and lengthen. Let's get a little taller here. And now can you lean to the left as far as you can go without letting that right sitting bone come up off the chair. So make sure the sitting bone stays on the chair. Breathe in, breathe out. And then come all the way up. I'm going to release that arm down. Take the left shoulder, circle up and around. Down and behind. Listen to the music in there and then get the elbow going. So if you didn't have music before, maybe you got music now with the elbow. And then let's get the whole arm up there. So we're sweeping this whole arm up and around and get your body involved. So twisting from the waist as you come forward, twist to the right. And as you come backward, twist to the left. And if you're going forward, that's great. If you're going backward, that's great. The next time your arm is down toward the floor, switch direction. So we just get a good balance here. Switching direction, making sure we work that shoulder. Great, and the next time that your arm is right in front, we're going to hold here, turn your palm up, and as you breathe in, sweep the arm back and around, twist in your seat, and as you breathe out, we're going to flip the hands the other way, going all the way to the right. I like to think of this as the Vanna White, right? You all know Vanna. She's been doing Wheel of Fortune for 1,000 years and still looks like she's 35. Somehow, and she just has that graceful way that she moves her arm. A couple more of these. Make sure you're breathing in and out through your nose. Next time your arm comes forward, we're going to go way up overhead. Reach, reach, reach. Get a little taller in your seat. And then lean into that right side. I like to keep my hands here just to give me some support. Don't let that left sitting bone come up off the chair. So stay anchored. Keep reaching up as high as you can so you get a good stretch through the left side of your body. Breathe in, breathe out. And then all the way back up. And that arm come down. Take a deep breath in, let it out with a sigh. Okay, let's take the hands together and interlace your fingers and just notice the position of your hands. Which thumb is on top? You're going to press the palms away, drop the chin to the chest and round through your upper back. Breathing in, breathing out into that space in your upper back. And then come all the way up overhead with your fingers interlaced. Reach up through the left heel of the hand and the right heel of the hand. With your next exhale, release your hands. Bring them all the way around behind you. Interlace your fingers back there. And then lift your elbows and squeeze your shoulder blades together. So we're trying to open up through the front of the shoulder, the chest. Breathe in, breathe out. Next exhale, release your hands. Bring them around to the front and interlace the opposite way. So make sure the other thumb is on the top now. It should feel a little weird, like you're holding somebody else's hand. And we're going to press the palms away, drop the chin to the chest, round through the upper back, breathe in, breathe out. Next inhale, come all the way up with the arms. And all the way up is relative. So if all the way up is here for you, that's fine. If it's up over here, that's fine as well. Release the hands, bring them back around behind you. Now this is going to be a little trickier. You've got to interlace in that weird way back there. So get the hands interlaced in that strange way and then squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the elbows as high as you can without leaning forward. So this is the tendency to do this. So you can keep your torso up nice and tall. Breathe in, breathe out. And then release that. Let your arms come back around. Good. Hands on your knees. Bring your feet a little wider than your hips. So maybe there's 18 to 24 inches between your toes. And then we're just going to start to bring the chin to the chest. And then the forehead down toward the floor. So we're just kind of rounding down. Now with your hands on your legs, you're giving yourself some support. And then we're going to come all the way back up. And as you come up, keep your hands on your legs. Press your chest forward. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and arch your back. So breathing in and breathing out. This is extension and flexion. So chin to chest, forehead down toward the floor. And then coming all the way back up, arching the back. So it's this nice, gentle movement in your spine. Right? So you can feel that from way down in your low back. Now you can arch your low back as well if you want to get all the way down through the bottom part of your spine. You can make this a whole spine experience or simply the top of the spine if that feels better. So getting some movement in there, really key. Breathing in and breathing out. So flexing and extending. How about two more of these? And last one. And we'll finish with extension. So finish by arching your back and then come back to the neutral spine. Good. Okay, we're going to shift now from the spine. We're going to go right down into the lower body. So take your right leg, extend it out, heel on the floor, and let's squeeze and extend the toes. So inside my shoe, that's what I'm doing. So many of us here have our shoes on. Folks at home, hopefully you can have your shoes off. And then we'll point and flex the foot. So if it's difficult for you to lift your foot, you can certainly do this with the heel on the floor. But if possible, lift your foot as you do that. And use your belly muscles a little bit as you're doing this as well. And then we'll start to circle at the ankle. Breathe in and breathe out. So notice if you're holding your breath, if the breath is getting a little bit choppy, and reverse direction. If you've been going in one direction, it's a good time to reverse. And then heel comes down to the floor. Take your hands right alongside your body. And we'll just kind of keep them in line with the hips. But it always reminds me to sit up tall instead of this little slouchy position. So we're just going to bend and extend the knee. Breathing in and breathing out. And again, just noticing, is it noisy in there? Maybe it's noisy in that knee. Okay. All right. Next time we have the knee extended. Hold here and breathe. Press out through your heel. Pull your toes toward your shin. And then let's see if we can rotate the whole leg in and out. Now, if this is too much, having your leg lifted, you can always drop your heel to the floor. That's absolutely fine. So keeping your hands here that supports your back. All right, breathing in, breathing out. Good. Okay, next time your toes are out to the little toe side, we're going to hold here. Keep breathing, squeeze this area right here above your knee. This is great for your knee. These are your quadriceps muscles here. You've got a knee replacement or an injury or going to have a replacement or anything like that, super important to get these muscles nice and strong. And then slowly lower that leg all the way down. Holy moly, that thing weighed about 25 pounds at the end of that. So a little massage is nice. And we're going to scoot over to the right side of the chair. So your right hip is on the edge. And once again, I'm just going to hold on to the chair here. We're going to lift and circle that leg out and around. Now notice if you're kind of leaning to one side, so you can sit up nice and tall. If this is too much to lift your foot off the floor, you can do it just like this. You have your foot on the floor. What we're trying to get at here is the hip joint, just getting some mobility in that hip joint. So do the best you can. And we're going to reverse directions. So at some point, switch around. And again, if you want to have your foot on the floor as you do that, no problem. Keep breathing. If you haven't been breathing, this is a good time to start. All right. And then foot comes down to the floor. Now use your toes and your heel and walk that foot way out. So what I'm trying to create, and actually have your body kind of turn a little bit so that your belly button is in line with the corner of the chair. So what we're trying to get here is a 90-degree angle between the hips. Good. And then we're going to extend the right leg. Good. Breathing in and breathing out. So your left foot is underneath your left knee. You're kind of facing that little diagonal thing. And we're going to take the hand, the right hand, down that right leg. And we're going to lean down into that side of the leg. And then come all the way up. Yeah, so you need to be kind of close to the edge of your chair, especially if your legs are a little bit shorter. Like for me, if I were sitting back in my chair, it would like cut me right off in the hamstring muscles, and that would be pretty uncomfortable. Couple more of these, breathing in, breathing out. Is it comfortable for you to take your left arm and raise it up as you come over? If it's not, just keep going the way you were before. If it feels okay to lift that arm up, let's go for it. Breathing in and breathing out. So we're getting a little bit more of a workout here when we bring that arm up and over. Great. Just one more time. Up and over. Beautiful. Okay. Now, let's see. Can we point the toes of that right foot? And as you point the toes of your right foot, can you twist your body to the left? And then come back and unwind. So again, toes of the right foot are pointed. So maybe your toes are on the floor, maybe they're not on the floor, that's okay. But you're pointing those toes. What that does is it engages these leg muscles so they're nice and strong. I want you to keep these leg muscles really strong as we twist the upper body to the left and then unwind, right? So breathing out as we twist, breathing in as we unwind. You can do that a couple more times. So we're getting a lot of twisting in through the waist and the spine today. Great. One more time. Twist and then come back. Beautiful. All right, let's bend that knee and heel and toe your foot all the way back. Bring your backside to the center of your chair. And let's take this right leg and cross it over the left. So with the leg crossed over like this, so for some people that doesn't work, you can cross at your ankle. That's absolutely fine. What we're going to do here is engage these muscles in the inner thighs and squeeze the inner thighs together. Now, as you squeeze the inner thighs together, you're going to sit up nice and tall. Take both hands to that top thigh. Breathe in and lengthen through your spine. And as you breathe out, come forward like you're trying to bring your belly button down onto that thigh. Breathing in as you come up. And breathing out as you come forward. Now, if you can breathe in and out through your nose, that's the best. If you're having any difficulty breathing this morning, breathe in through your nose and out through pursed lips like you're blowing out a candle. That works as well. One more time. Remember, you're squeezing those inner thighs together. Great. And when you come all the way up, we're going to take that ankle on top of the knee. So once again, if this doesn't work, having the ankle on top of the knee, You can have ankle on top of ankle, that works as well. And so in the last movement, we were squeezing the inner thighs together. Now it is engage the muscles here in the outside of the leg and especially in the outer part of the hip, and pull this knee down toward the floor, right? So when I engage these muscles, this is what it looks like. I pull that knee down toward the floor. If I'm crossed here, same thing. I'm engaging the muscles here and I'm pulling that knee down toward the floor. Ready? So on the inhalation, we're going to pull the knee down, and on the exhalation, we're going to relax. So breathing in and out. And if my instruction for when to breathe in and out is not working for you, you can switch that. You can certainly breathe out. Just 2 more of these. And we're going to finish with those muscles engaged. I'm going to ask you to hold that. It's a little bit of a powerful stretch there. And as you're holding that, lengthen through your spine, and then see if you can come forward a little bit. Now, some people are going to come forward quite a bit, and some of us are just going to come forward a little bit, and that's okay. So a lot of it has to do with how your hip is oriented right now. If you've got any hip issues, or if you've had a replacement, you know, these are some things that you have to kind of consider when you're coming forward like this. One more breath in and out. And then let's come all the way up. Great. Okay, so we're going to lean back a little bit. And as we uncross this leg, I'm going to ask you to keep the knee bent and bring your hands behind the knee. So we're holding this leg up. Bring your chest up and forward. Good. Breathe in, breathe out. See if you can get your nose and your knee close together. And then bring them apart a little bit. So as you exhale, bring your nose and your knee together. And as you inhale, apart. So when you're bringing your nose and knee away from each other, get your spine nice and tall. Good. And one more time. Great. And then we're going to release that leg, let it come down. Now point your feet. So hold on to your chair, point your feet, lengthen your legs, and look down there and notice if your right leg is longer than your left leg. Hopefully you got a little more length in that right leg because we just did a whole lot of work there. All right, bend the knees, bring your feet back under, and let's get some work going on that left side. So extend your left leg, heel on the floor, and then squeeze and release your toes. Again, inside my speaker, this is what I'm doing with my toes. Got to coordinate. There we go. Yeah. So getting some movement in the toes, really good when the weather's cold. I find that when I'm sitting watching TV or reading a book or something, if I can keep my toes moving, I generally stay a little bit warmer. And then we'll start to point and flex the foot. Of course, I'm in 3 pairs of socks now these days. I don't know about you guys, but 1 thin pair. That was something I learned about through hiking. Is that if you want your feet to be warm, you wear a thin pair, like a little pair of Peds first, and then you put a wool sock over it. Toasty warm. Of course, if you're sitting around, then you need the 3rd pair. And then we'll start to circle at the ankle. Notice if it's noisy over here. And reverse direction. Okay, and then we're going to bring that heel down to the floor, hands on your chair. We're going to pull the belly in a little bit and bend and extend that knee. So again, just checking for noise, because oftentimes knees are a little bit noisy. And I often say this: noise without pain is quite often just fine. A little bit of noise. Next time you extend, let's hold here. You're going to rotate the leg in and out, and see if you can feel it way up here. Now again, if this is too much, if your leg feels a little too heavy, or your hip hurts, or your knee hurts, you can bring your heel to the floor and do this movement with the heel on the floor. It doesn't matter. This is just a little more of a challenge for the hip flexors in the thigh. Now watch that you're not kind of slouching. You want to be nice and tall. And the next time your foot is out to the little toe side, stay there. Bring your heel, press your heel out, bring your toes toward your shin a little bit more. Keep breathing in and breathing out. Excellent. One more breath. Ooh, we're really holding this. And then slowly lower down. Good. Let's bend that knee and give a little massage and a little thanks to that leg. Scoot your backside over to the left side of your chair. You want to be kind of near the edge. And then we're going to lift and rotate. So again, this is for the hip itself. So if you've got a hip issue or you feel like lifting your leg is too much, have your foot on the floor. We want to get the rotation way up here in that hip joint. Keep breathing. If you're kind of slouching like this, sit up nice and tall. And then at some point, reverse directions. We'll go around the other way. A few rotations here. This is a tough one. We're asking the muscles that support that hip joint to do an awful lot of work. Okay, and then we'll bring that foot down to the floor. Use your heel and your toes. Walk the foot out. Now you're going to turn your body so that your navel is in line with the corner of the chair, right? And then see if you can get 90 degrees between your right knee and your left knee, and your knees are bent so that your feet are directly underneath your your feet. They're under your knees, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. All right, so now we can extend that left leg. Okay, and then let's just lean into that left side and come up. We're just going to do this a few times, right? If you turn your torso a little more to the right, you'll feel that a little more in the side of the waist. So as you're doing this, if you'd like to add a little more difficulty to this, a little more challenge, you can take your right arm up and over. Ooh, that definitely adds a challenge for me anyway. And as I come over, I can feel that right side of my waist. When the arm gets past that midway point over to the left, ooh, the right side of the waist has to work to hold you up. Breathing in, breathing out. So stay nice and tall. Good. Okay, how about one more time? All right, excellent. And then let's point the foot. So now it's like you're trying to bring your toes onto the floor. Maybe your toes get to the floor, maybe they don't. It doesn't matter. Engage the muscles here in your leg. That's the important thing, to have these muscles nice and strong. And then as you exhale, we're going to twist to the right. And as you inhale, kind of come back and unwind. So exhale as you twist and inhale as you unwind. We'll do this several times here. So this is really good work for the spine, for the waist, for the ribs. And that's all important for getting a good breath in, right? Okay, a couple more. Excellent. How about this is our last one? Very good. Okay, let's relax that. Use your heel and your toes. Walk that foot in. Scoot your backside to the center of your chair. Take your left leg, cross it over your right. Once again, knee on top of knee, if you can do that. If that doesn't work for you, ankle on top of ankle is just fine. So we're going to squeeze those inner thigh muscles again. When you squeeze the inner thigh muscles, sit up nice and tall in your chair. Have both hands on that top thigh. Take a deep breath in as you lengthen, and as you exhale, you're going to come forward like you're trying to bring your navel down onto your thigh. So breathing in, we come up. Breathing out, we come forward. So nice, slow breath means nice, slow movement. Okay? So this is just a very gentle kind of movement forward and back. This is great for your hips, by the way. Great for your knees and your thighs. Can you all see how you can do these things at home? You're just sitting down watching TV, sit at the front edge of the chair that you're on and just do a few of these. Good. Okay, last one, forward and up. Good. All right, and now we're going to slide the ankle on top of the knee. And again, if that doesn't work, ankle on top of ankle is just fine. We're going to engage, instead of the inner thigh muscles here, we're going to engage the muscles here in the outer part of the thigh and up into the hip. And we're going to pull that knee down toward the floor and then relax. So pulling the knee down toward the floor and relax and breathe in, breathe out. And I don't really care when you inhale, when you exhale, as long as it's smooth and round. Think about your breath as just being this continuous flow. The air moves in and the air moves out. And anytime you catch yourself kind of holding your breath, Like if you get to the end of the inhalation and you're holding your breath for a moment, or to the end of the exhalation, same thing, then you're not in that nice round rhythm. So you want to kind of get into that round rhythm. The next time you pull your knee down toward the floor, we're going to pause here, hold and breathe. Now we're asking the muscles to do an awful lot of work, and they can do it. They can manage. And with your next exhale, you're going to lean forward just a little bit. Now, some of you might want to come forward a little bit farther. Some can come farther forward. So on the other side, I have very limited range on that side, but I have more on this side. So I'm just going to explore that because that's what's available for me. And you might notice that too. You might say, oh, wow, on the other side, I could come really far forward, and this side, not so much. So just kind of exploring what that feels like. Coming forward a little bit. The gauge for me is always my breath. If I come really far forward and I notice that my breath is getting a little shallow, that's how I manage my stress, and I think a lot of people do. When I get a little bit stressed, and I mean that physically and mentally, my breath gets very shallow. I don't want to breathe too deeply. Just too much effort. And then we're going to come all the way up. Okay. Relax those muscles. Now, when we uncross this leg, we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side, which is to take hold of the back of that thigh right behind the knee and sit up really tall, breathing in, breathing out. And with your next exhalation, you're going to bring your nose and your knee as close together as they'll go. And then as you inhale, just extend the body and relax that a little bit. So we're just exhaling, inhaling. Now, if you can get your nose to touch your knee, good for you. If you can't, that's okay. That's just the direction we're going in, right? Yeah. At one time, just think about this. At one time in your life, you could do that easily, right? We all could. That's when our bodies were mostly water. Our joints weren't fully stiff. Yes, that's a good word. They weren't fully stiffened like they are now. Okay, last one, you guys. Great. We're going to release that leg. Ooh, that one weighed a ton too. Let's see if we can extend both legs. Point your toes. Look down there. Okay, do we have the same length? Hopefully right to left is the same. Good. All right, I'm going to take that as a gift. Bring your feet in. All right. So let's bring the feet a little wider than the hips. We're going to be coming up to standing. We've been doing this now. This is, I always got to look, we always got to look for the silver lining in things. And getting to come up to standing in our yoga class, for me, is one of the silver linings of the COVID, whatever I'm trying to say. Thank you. Because there's less of us here, and we're all in shoes, so we don't have to worry about slipping. We don't have to worry about so many people. And for folks at home, you're kind of in charge of yourself here. But I think this is a really important thing that we need to do at any age, because it's easy to lose the strength in your quadriceps muscles. Those are the muscles here in the front of the thigh that go down to the knee. And when you lose the strength in these muscles, your ability to navigate stairs, to navigate getting up and down off a chair, in and out of a car, anything that is sort of a routine part of life, when you start to lose those things, it's really impactful. So it's super important to keep these strong. And the best way to do that is to practice getting up and down and to do some squats. So as I always say, don't think about coming straight up. You want to come forward first, because you want to get your backside off the chair and then come up. So let's have the hands on the thighs. We're going to keep coming forward like you're trying to come up to me. Keep coming forward, get your butt right up off the chair. And then slowly straighten your knees and come up. Let's step back just a little bit, a little closer to the chair so that we know where it is. I like to have the backs of my knees just about touching the chair, because then I feel confident. I know where it is. Feet are a little wider than the hips. And another little tip here is to turn your toes out very slightly. So if you're standing like this with your feet straight on, it's a lot harder on your knees. If you bring them out just a little bit, now I'm not talking about first position in ballet, but just out a little bit, that helps. You're going to bend at the knees, bring your butt behind you, shift your weight into your heel, come down, but don't sit, and then slowly come up. Breathe. You're going to do this 3 times with breath. Coming down, breathing in and breathing out. So just keep breathing in and out. Smooth and steady. Nice slow breath. If this is too much, don't squat so much. You can squat this much and that's fine. So whatever works for you. The more weight you put in your heels, the stronger your quadriceps are going to get. How about last time we do our little squat? Breathe in, breathe out, and we're going to hold here. Breathing in, breathing out. Make sure you're shifted into your heels. Pull your belly in. If your belly's just sort of hanging out there, pull those muscles in a little bit. Give yourself some support. And then slowly straighten your knees and come all the way up. Good job, you guys. That was a tough one. Shake out the legs a little bit. Okay, and we're going to come around to the back of the chair. So if you've got anything under your chair or around your chair, just be aware of that. Okay, so let's start now with the feet. With the feet parallel. So what I was just saying a moment ago, for squatting, having the toes angled out slightly is good for squatting, but when we're standing, we're going to have the feet parallel. Press down into the heels and the outer edges of your feet and into the bottoms of your toes. You got all that kind of in your head about what that feels like? And now pull up through your arches. So you all know your arches are right here on the inside of your foot. So you're going to pull up through your arches. And as you pull up through your arches, that's going to pull right up through the inner part of the thighs and the inner part of the legs, right into the pelvic floor and the belly. So it's like you're lifting everything up from the center of your body. And you're breathing. So this is the core. People think the core is right here. That's just a part of it. That's just a part of it. Your core includes the muscles that go around your waist. They include the muscles in your feet and legs, because this is what gives you support for that pelvic floor in the bottom. So breathing in and breathing out, we've got all of that core engaged from the bottom all the way to the top, and then with your hands resting lightly on your chair. I want you to be mindful when we shift weight. We're going to be shifting weight from one foot to the other. Try not to lean your body into the side we're shifting, right? So this is where that strength in the legs is really important. So strengthen the muscles here in the right leg. Shift all of your weight onto your right leg. Notice if you just lean. See if you can come back. Breathe in, breathe out. We're going to do this a couple of times because I want you to really notice this. Right? When you shift your weight into that right leg, it's going to be a very slight lean, but not a big lean. And come back. And last time, shift into that right side. Good. Come up on the toes of your left foot. And then turn your left heel to the inside of your right leg. Take your left knee like you're trying to bring it behind you. Breathe in, breathe out. Excellent. You can take one hand off your chair. Just one. If you're feeling really balanced today, try taking the other one off, even if it's just for a moment. Even if you just come up onto one finger, right? So there's something to try. This is challenging. Try not to hold your breath. That's always something you do, right? Beautiful. And then let's bring that foot down to the floor, both hands on your chair. Shake out that right leg that was just doing a whole lot of support work. And then we'll come back to both feet parallel. Press into your heels, outer edges of your feet, bottoms of your toes. Lift up through your arches. So the inner thighs are really working. Pull up on the pelvic floor. Belly muscles are pulling in. Shift the weight into the left side. Come up on the toes of the right foot. And then turn that right foot so the heel is on the inside of that left leg. Breathe in, breathe out. Another thing I didn't mention when we were doing this on the other side is if you find a spot to gaze at, something like maybe, I always like to find like a little piece of lint or something on the floor that is like close enough to capture my attention. Try taking one hand off your chair, breathing in, breathing out. And then if you're feeling adventurous, you're feeling like you might want to try letting that other hand float a little bit. You could do that. Or you could even have both hands still on your chair. That's absolutely fine as well. Just keep breathing in and breathing out. This is a challenge. You know, it doesn't look like we're doing a lot, but we are. Beautiful. And then both hands to your chair. Let's shift the weight into that right leg, shake out the left leg a little bit. And maybe just kind of go side to side a little bit. So we're challenging the muscles of the legs to do some work. So let's do this. Once again, bringing your feet so that they're parallel. Shift your weight into your heels, the outer edges of your feet and the bottoms of your toes. Lift up through your arches. Get as tall as you can get. Breathe in, breathe out. Now I want you to think about your rib cage, where your rib cage ends, and where the tops of your hip bones are, right? So you can even take your hands, and let's just do a little palpation there. So find the tops of your hip bones, and then go up a little higher, and you'll press in. It's a little soft there, that's your waist, and then you'll feel your ribs. And it's not very much. It's just a couple of inches for most of us. Guys, actually, it's a little less. Your hip bones are taller, so there's less space between your rib cage and your hip bone. So what I want you to think about is creating more length in there. Right? How can you get taller into your waist? Breathe in, breathe out. Okay. Now you're still pressing down into your feet. There's more weight in your heels than in the toes. And as you breathe in, next I'm going to have you bring your arms out to the sides and way up overhead. If your arm doesn't go up overhead, so say your shoulder is kind of bothering you, that's fine. And then let's lower them down. So we'll go up and down a couple of times and then we're going to hold, okay? So this is the mountain pose in yoga. So your arms can be up here, they can be out nice and wide and all the way down. And last time. So arms come way up overhead. Now reach up through your fingers. Remember what I just said about the waist getting a little bit longer, so the space between your lower rib cage and your hip bones getting a little bit more. So if you reach up through your fingers, spread your fingers wide, activate your hands. So don't let your hands be kind of loose. You want to activate your hands and let your fingers actually pull you up a little bit, get a little bit taller. And oh, by the way, are you breathing? So breathe in and breathe out. It's a tough posture, you guys. And then slowly lower your arms all the way down. Beautiful. Hands come to the chair. Let's relax the legs, shake them out a little bit. So the mountain pose can be done without the arms, by the way. And that's that posture where we shift the weight into the heels, the outer edges, and the bottoms of the toes, right? And we engage all the leg muscles pulling up through the inner thighs. That's the mountain pose just without the arms. And that's a good posture to take when you're waiting in line, right? So for those who haven't had their vaccine yet, when you go to get your vaccine, you're likely going to be standing in line for a little bit. So think about coming into the mountain pose while you're waiting, right? Just kind of shifting the weight there. Because quite often, you know, we do this and then we kind of do that and, you know, cross your arms and, you know, it's all this kind of moving around. But what if we could stand and kind of be in this position for a while? There's strength here in this because we're using the structure of the body to hold ourselves upright, as opposed to relying on all of this muscular imbalance to support these kind of habits or fidgeting that we do. Okay, so let's stretch a little bit for the backs of the legs. So holding onto your chair, step up nice and close to your chair. Shift your weight into your left foot. Take your right foot and step it way back. Put your big toe on the floor. And then you're going to bend your left knee as you bring your right heel down to the floor. Come all the way up and all the way down. Now, if you're here, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what I mean. If you're here and your heel doesn't get to the floor, see how my heel is still lifted? I'm going to actually bring my foot in a little bit, because I want to be able to get that heel down onto the floor. If this feels too easy, like, oh, my heel could go farther than the floor, then I'm going to shift that foot back a little bit more. So it's kind of finding that Goldilocks position for that back foot. Once you've gotten there and you have your heel on the floor, we're going to hold here and breathe. Now, if you're leaning forward because the chair just took a trip forward on you, just slide it back a little bit. Quite often that's what happens. The chair just is a little too far forward in it. Breathe in, breathe out. Press out through that back heel. Can you see my leg is nice and straight here? So I'm getting a stretch. What we're getting now is a stretch in the muscles in the outside of the lower leg. What we're going to do is keep the heel on the floor, bend that back knee. So don't let, in other words, don't let your heel lift. You want to keep the heel on the floor, bend the back knee. Now we're getting a stretch for a muscle that's deep in that lower leg. And that deep muscle wraps around your heel and into the bottom of your foot. So if you get foot cramps, if you have plantar fasciitis, it's a great stretch to do for that. And leg cramps too, I didn't mention that, but lower leg cramps. Anybody get those at night, lower leg cramps? Yeah, this is a good stretch to do for that. And they hurt like the dickens, don't they? Yeah, yes. And then come all the way up on your toes. Let's step the back foot forward and the forward foot back. And we're going to step that left foot back. Same thing. Come up on your toe first. And then we're going to bend that front knee, see if we can get the heel to the floor. And again, I took too big a step back there. So you can see my heel is not touching the floor. So when I come up, I'm going to have to adjust and bring my foot in a little bit. And now my heel comes down to the floor, and that feels much better for me. My shoe is so squeaky up here, you guys. Okay, next time your heel is on the floor, so front knee is bent, back heel is on the floor. I'm going to try turning this way, but the speaker doesn't generally like that. Oh, it's working today. Okay, so the heel's on the floor, that back knee is straight, and I'm leaning forward. Can you see I'm leaning forward? I'm going to slide my chair back a little bit. You get a better stretch upright than you do when you're leaning forward. And now keep your heel on the floor, and we're just going to bend that back knee and then straighten. And bend and straighten. Good. And keep breathing. And the next time you bend, let's hold here. So keep the heel pressing into the floor. Keep that back knee a little bit of a bend in it. About 2 more breaths. A great stretch again for the lower leg. And then we're going to straighten that knee, come up on the toes and step the feet together. Let's just shake out the legs a little bit. Beautiful. Let's come around to the front of the chair. Stand with your feet a little wider than your hips, the backs of your knees up close to your chair. We're going to do a little bit of a squat here before coming down to a seated position. So bend your knees, lift your tailbone up behind, pull your belly in, shift your weight into your heels. We're going to hold here in this hover position for just a couple of breaths. So if you have more weight in your hands, that takes some of the work out of your legs. If you want more work in your legs, you can take your hands together on your thumbs. This is even harder, right? Breathing in, breathing out. Ooh, everybody's doing the hard way. Okay, let's come to a seated position. So just make sure you know where that chair is. Nice and slow. Beautiful job, you guys. All right, let's give those legs a bit of a massage. We ask a lot of them. Lower legs, upper legs. Good. So, you know, the balance, I just want to say this, the balance between stretching and strengthening gets more important as we age, because it doesn't happen naturally from the things that we do. You know, there's a study done not long ago about folks as we get older, we tend to want to live in homes that are all on one level and that kind of thing. And that actually, they're saying, is probably a problem for us. Because when we take the stairs out of the house, now we don't go up and down the stairs 25 times a day. So we're missing that exercise. So all of the things that we think, oh, this would make my life so much easier, and this would just be so much easier on my body, you know, science is weighing that and saying, well, maybe not, you know. The good thing is I see a lot more folks walking that I haven't seen in the past, young folks and older folks together. So again, another silver lining in this pandemic is that people have the opportunity to get out and do a little bit more walking, which is good. So movement is key. That's basically what I'm trying to say, is that movement is absolutely key. Our bodies are made for moving. They're not made for sitting. So of course, now we're going to sit for a few minutes and close our eyes, because every now and then we need to rest. Okay, so if you want to sit into the back of your chair, you can do that. You can sit however you're most comfortable. I'm going to have you close your eyes. We're just going to end with a little meditation here. So close your eyes and just let's scan the body from head to toe. So starting at your head, notice your face, if your muscles are tight, if you're kind of furrowing your brow or you're clenching your teeth or anything like that. Relax all those muscles in your face. Relax your neck, your jaw. Relax your shoulder tops. Let them come down away from your ears. Relax your upper back and your chest, your arms, your hands and fingers. So if you're clasping your hands, just make sure you're very gently kind of clasping, not kind of squeezing your hands together in any way. And then notice the space between your rib cage and your hip bones. We were just doing that. See if you can soften that area in your body and let there be more space. Relax your hips, your belly, your low back. Relax your thighs, your knees, your lower legs and ankles, your feet. So feel your body as relaxed as you can be in this moment. And then turn your attention to your thoughts. And notice if there's some tension in the mind. So tension in the mind often manifests as a lack of thoughts, or maybe one or two thoughts that you're perseverating on. Let's say that again. Tension in the mind manifests as thoughts. Maybe that you have lots of thoughts, your mind is jumping from one to the next. Or it may be that you have one or two things that your mind is just constantly focused on. So if you notice that experience inside your own head this morning, the simplest way to get rid of mental tension is to acknowledge that the thoughts are happening. Oh yes, I see all these thoughts trying to compete for space. Acknowledge the thoughts and let them go. Acknowledge that this thought is really sticking out there and it's trying to hold my attention. Okay, so what is the next thought? Or if you have the experience of thoughts moving in and out really quickly, acknowledge each thought. So when it comes in, before it leaves too quickly, say, hold on just a second. I just want to look at you for one more moment, and then I'll let you go. Meditation is about recognizing your thoughts. It's not about having no thoughts. It's not about having a completely empty mind. It's simply about recognizing that these thoughts are happening, and yet I am not my thoughts. I get to be the one who's watching the thoughts. I'm the one having the experience of thought, but I'm not the thought. Another way to work with the mind that's very active is to turn your attention to your breathing. So bring your focus now from your thoughts to your breath. Notice the way air is moving in and out of your body. Is it easy or challenging to breathe in and out through your nose? Is your breath shallow or is it deep? Is your breath fast or is it slow? Is there a texture or a color, a shape, or a word that you associate with your breath right now? It's very common to make an association that might not seem like it fits, like a shape to your breath. But sometimes we get that sensation of feeling a shape associated with the breath. As you're examining all these different effects of your breath, all of these different nuances to your breath, notice how your focus on your thoughts has faded into the background. The breath provides an anchor for the mind. Thoughts are simply working in the background. Breathing in and breathing out, feeling your body relax, noticing your thoughts. Put your hands up to your heart, let your hands rest on your chest so you can feel the breath as it moves in and out. And then if it feels okay, bring your palms together and just take a moment in appreciation for yourself, for your wisdom, for your compassion, for your light, and your eternal beauty. And we are indeed eternally beautiful. And then if it feels right, maybe just open your eyes and just give an acknowledgement to anybody who's in the room with you and have the pleasure of having all these beautiful faces here too. Thank you. And all of you at home. Enjoy the rest of this glorious day.